Well, Senator, thank you very much for your hospitality. I'm very pleased to be able to be with you for this important discussion. In the middle of a once-in-a-century pandemic, it's difficult to think beyond confronting the immediate effects of COVID-19. However, even as we continue supporting each other today, we also have to begin looking over the horizon at the post-COVID world. We need to start planning how our country and our economy can emerge stronger. The first phase of dealing with the pandemic was to contain it using any means available to us, even at the expense of placing our economy and much of our social interaction into a medically induced coma. We're now moving into the second stage of our response, a carefully measured decontrol that allows Canadians to resume more of their ordinary lives and that attempts to breathe life back into our economy. That phase will last for some time. We often speak about the new normal, but we won't really know what the new normal will look like, let alone start to live it, until we have an effective vaccine and wide distribution, a process that will likely take 1 to 2 years. What's clear is that to attempt to remain on lockdown for that period would be unsustainable, both economically and socially. Where we find ourselves is in a transitional phase where we'll have to live with the virus in our midst without any absolute guarantees, but managing the risks involved carefully and responsibly while increasing our economic and social activities. Full recovery is a long way off, but recovery starts with resilience. The government's response spared millions of Canadians from economic disaster. Measures like the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy and the Canada Emergency Business Account have provided urgently needed assistance to Canadian workers and businesses, helping to ensure that they'll be there to propel our economic recovery. These measures have come at an enormous price that's estimated at over $250 billion so far, and their cost will continue to mount for the coming year and beyond. The burden of carrying that cost will be borne by an economic infrastructure that has been badly damaged. As provinces and territories begin to reopen, Canada must prepare to transition away from a subsidy-based crisis response toward economic stimulus and getting Canadians back to work while ensuring their health and safety. We'll need to encourage investment in business activities that will create jobs and generate the revenue that's needed to offset the extraordinarily high levels of public spending during the emergency. This will be no easy task. Over the coming months and years, our international competitors will be fixated on attracting investment and creating jobs. For Canada's recovery plan to succeed, our policymakers will need a singular focus on economic fundamentals and on promoting growth. The federal government must be as agile and determined in pursuing economic growth as it's been in responding to the virus. Developed in partnership with our network of chambers of commerce and boards of trade and more than 100 of Canada's business associations, the Canadian Chamber's Roadmap to Recovery lays out 9 policy areas and specific measures that our political leaders must consider to ensure a lasting recovery. These priority areas are getting Canadians back to work, keeping supply chains and people moving, managing debt and deficits, navigating global fragmentation, adopting technology and innovation, ensuring a resilient resources sector, planning for SME business community continuity, strengthening our public health infrastructure, and rethinking the government's role and priorities. The economic, political, and cultural changes that this crisis inflicts on Canada and the rest of the world will be massive. We'll need to continue the high level of collaboration among governments, business, and civil society that characterized the management of this pandemic. We ask that the government work closely with the business community in developing a roadmap for economic recovery. A growth-focused plan based on broad consultation will unlock economic capacity, fuel job creation, and promote new business investment. By working together, we can forge a path to recovery that's inclusive, that's environmentally responsible, and that's innovative. So, Senators, thank you again for the opportunity to meet with you, and I look forward to our discussion.